Hi everybody, Dr. Sam here, and today we're going to be talking about sleep and energy. Who all wants more of it? Yay! So going to be diving into how your energy levels are impacted by maybe how you're sleeping, and how your sleep is impacted by your energy levels, and how it's just kind of a vicious cycle, and how the number one thing that's causing all of this to maybe go a little bit awry is, I bet you can guess, is stress. So, diving into this, we all experience stress on a day-to-day basis and how our body is able to adapt or not adapt to it. We can't necessarily run from stress, it's just part of everyday life. But like I say, learning how to adapt to it and learning how to, you know, work through it a little bit better, allowing our energy then maybe to go towards more productive things versus just being stressed out and all the stressors that we have in our life. With stress, you end up feeling very fatigued. And by fatigue, it's not one of those you're thinking, oh man, like I've had a super stressful day and I'm super fatigued, I'm gonna sleep like a rock tonight. Usually not the case. You might feel like you're drained completely and just exhausted, but it's a different kind of fatigue. It's not a good kind of fatigue versus just being tired. Being tired, you know, that might be amping up your body to letting you know like, hey, I do need more sleep. But fatigue, you almost feel tired but wired. Does that make sense? It's almost like you're so strung out, drug out, that whenever it comes down to nighttime and ready to go to sleep, like your body's just like, yep, nope, we're not gonna be doing that. The fatigue then also then sets in mentally, and that's where we kind of get into trouble with sleep habits, and those ended up being kind of like a poor sleep habit. So stressors are things that might affect our sleep and energy. And with that being said, stress is the number one cause of pretty much every health condition, disease, illness that we can come across. We're starting to see a lot more stress in this everyday life. I'm actually recording this during the coronavirus. I don't know when I'm gonna be posting this webinar, but many of us remember the amount of stress that we went through then. I even now know like my sleep stinks because I'm overwhelmed, I'm terrified, I'm scared, I'm stressed, all of those things. And so I went through a good phase there for about 2-3 weeks where my sleep was very poor, and I'm like, gosh darn it, what's going on? What am I changing? Well, I hadn't amped up the things that I should be doing. I was still only getting adjusted once a week versus maybe doing 2 or 3. And the second I started doing that, guess what? I started sleeping better. I started turning off the TV, and we're gonna go over some of these things. I started turning off the TV, turning off my phone, not paying attention to those things that keep putting more stress into my mind and into my body. And therefore the body's like, oh, thank you. I'm actually tired whenever it's time to go to bed, and not just fatigued and still feeling like my body and my brain are still going. So to go over the stressors, we all experience, like I say, different stress. In the chiropractic world and in my office, we talk about 3 different kinds, and those are going to be physical, chemical, and emotional. So physical stress, you can obviously imagine what that might entail. That's going to be anything from, you know, falling down, a tough workout that you might have strained a back, doing a bunch of landscaping, doing snow removal, lifting up kids, moving dogs, moving furniture, just doing things around the house that might be a little bit more taxing onto our body. We can also get into a car accident that would put a physical stress on our body. Within kiddos, they're going to be doing all their falls, falling on the bike, falling on, you know, if they're a gymnast or they're an athlete, they're gonna be doing all sorts of things that's gonna put their body through a physical stress and taxing to it that the body's just having to adapt to. Not necessarily all negative, but it's another stress that the body has to take on. Diving into chemical stressors, this one is kind of one that goes a little bit under the radar for most people. And that's going to be the nutrition. That's going to be what we're putting into our body, what we're putting on our body. Good, healthy foods are going to be so much better for us, and our body's going to be able to recognize those healthy foods and know how to digest them properly, versus putting in high fat, high carb, you know, sugary stuff that the body then has to pump out different bodily fluids, like the pancreas secretes stuff, the intestines secrete things to help digest those foods and break it down so the body's able to eliminate it. And so if we're putting more of those icky, crummy foods into our system, and what are the foods that we reach for whenever we're stressed? not the good ones. No one's reaching for a salad or salmon whenever they're really, really stressed out. They're reaching for maybe a burger and fries or a sugary, you know, brownie or donuts and stuff like that. And so then it almost becomes this vicious cycle that you're stressed, you put a stressed, icky kind of food into your body that your body's then having to throw out different hormones that it normally doesn't and doesn't want to throw out. And that just causes more of a stress response within the body with putting those chemicals and stuff like that within the body. And I shouldn't say like chemicals, but it's just like things that you're ingesting. Another thing too on that front is like during stressful times, some people might turn to alcohol, smoking. Those are also going to be chemicals into our body that our body is taking on as another quote unquote threat. And that we don't want to be putting any more threat into our system whenever we're stressed out. And then the last stress that we want to talk about is emotional stress. So I find that this one takes the cake on the stresses. Our emotions and our mental stress kind of takes a really big hit, especially this day and age. There's so many things that we're having to mentally think about, mentally be on top of, emotionally figure out being there emotionally for our kids, for our significant other, for those around us, for our company, for our business, for our work, all of that stuff. And it seems like there's always this constant need for perfection. There's this constant need for being busy. There's this constant need for, you know, thinking that you have to do all of these things in order just to be part of, you know, look what we're all doing. That can be emotionally and mentally taxing. And so when all those things kind of build up and get amped up within the body and it's constant go, 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 it's going to be allowing stress to keep building up within our body, and then therefore that's when some anxiety can start to kick in, and then anxiety can, if that gets overloaded, becomes depression, and then we have a whole new storm that we're talking about with these stresses. So learning how to get ahead of these and finding ways to balance them, so then therefore we are able to sleep better, because sleep is so vitally important. Our energies are going to be better, and we're going to be able to adapt to all of these stresses better if our body is functioning 100% as it should and it's able to do. Whenever then we've talked about these stressors and we've put all of them together, the physical, the chemical, and the emotional / mental, if it becomes so much and overbearing, we get caught in what we call like a stress response or our fight or flight response. And if you've watched any of my videos, I talk about this every single time, because the stress response and stress within the body, like I say, is the #1 leading cause of so many issues that can go on within our body and taxes our body. And so with sleep, and if we're caught in this constant, let me go into this, if we are caught in that constant fight or flight mode, that stress response, and you're like, what do you mean by fight or flight mode? It's that mode where if we're being, and this is such an exaggerated example, if we are being chased by a bear and we are running from this bear, our body is in that heightened fight or flight, like we got to get the heck out of Dodge. What that is doing, and it's a great protective mechanism within our body is then saying, okay, I need all of the resources to be going towards this person's legs, muscles, to get going, to get the heck out of here. I need all the blood and all the nutrients to be going to their heart and to their lungs to get the heck out of Dodge so they can keep running, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it's like if we had to constantly keep running from a bear or constantly keep running from threats, i.e. stressors within our body. Now, like I say, this is an exaggerated form, but if you can sit there and think about all of the stressors from those physical, chemical, and emotional that you have adding up in your body, it can almost feel some days like a bear is chasing you. But whenever we are caught into that fight or flight mode and we are stuck in that stress response, our body is not given two hoots about, oh, we should rest real quick and take a nice little nap. Oh, we should digest the food that we just ate at lunch. Oh, can we stop over here, you know, and let my hormones start to regulate as they should? No, your body in that point of heightened stress and that stress response is not giving two hoots about doing the normal things that it should do. It's just worrying about being protected and getting out of that threat and constantly getting out of that threat mode. And so we want to get the body back into that, what we call a parasympathetic or a rest, digest, heal, sleep. Like I said, rest, digest, heal, sleep, regulating all of these good things that our body's made to do versus it being shut down from that heightened fight or flight mode. I hope that makes sense for you guys. And so with stress, and like whenever we've added that all in, and you think about sleep, whenever we wake up, and it's like you go to bed one night and you've had a stressful day and you can feel the stress just amped up within your body. You go to bed that night, how do you normally sleep? Probably not well. Your mind's either going 100% still and it can't shut off. So then therefore, you know, you go to bed, you aren't sleeping, you wake up the next day, you don't feel refreshed at all, you feel groggy, and then you're having to go again and do your day all over again, which might be just as stressful as the day before, or maybe not even stressful, but your body's still kicked on that fight or flight response or that stress response. And so then other things that, you know, impact the sleep. You might be having kiddos come in, you know, tinkering and needing their 38th glass of water in the middle of the night. Or they had another nightmare because they're not sleeping well, because they're stressed as well. You know, because kids have a whole nother level of stresses within their little systems that's causing them maybe not to sleep well. If they're not sleeping well, hello, mom and dad are not going to be sleeping well either. Maybe even brother and sister. And so then you're waking up, like I say, the next day, feeling completely unrested, feeling like gunk. That sends a whole nother set of stress hormones surging through the body because you don't feel well rested. And what do we have going again? We have that cortisol releasing, we have that adrenaline releasing to keep us going. We're having to drink, you know, 8 cups of coffee. That caffeine is going to start kicking out more of the stress response and the stress hormones, and it becomes a hugely vicious cycle, as you can imagine, and one that we need to break. So we're going to be talking about some things, how we can go in there and slash that cycle and get us back into a state of resting, healing, digesting, all of that good stuff. Within my office, I also will see a lot of conditions in which people are like, they come in with, and I'm like, well, how are you sleeping? They're like, oh God, you don't even want to know. So other conditions that I see people who are highly stressed, and this can also be, and I know we all get to a point in our life where it almost just feels like it's almost subconscious, like your body, each thing that happens to your body, your subconscious mind takes it, records it, and stores it. And so if it becomes just kind of like a constant self-perpetual wheel, that almost then gets ingrained into our brain, almost to like a fast track. Like if you're thinking about like taking the fastest route and you're going down a highway and there's just a straight line, or there's like a curve and you're going up in hills, down, you know, up and down a mountain, our brain with like stress and how it adapts to it is the more we feed it, the more it's going to create that straight pathway versus that winding, curving road that might give us a little bit more time to adapt to our situation versus just going full throttle, gas pedal on, bam, we're getting to that other side. So our body then and our brain, it takes some time. And it takes some time to kind of like rewire the brain, retrain it, and rewind kind of all the things that have been placed within it. Because the good thing about our body and I guess our brain is that it has plasticity. So it's a neuroplasticity, and you can look that up and do some research on it. But it has the ability to be plastic. So we don't think like solid metal. So like plastic has the ability to bend, mold, and adapt. So the good news is even though you feel like you're in this horrible, vicious, poor sleep, low energy cycle, we can break that for you and get you going on to a better, more restful sleep, which then therefore gives you more energy. And when we have more energy, we can be there for our family. We can be there for ourselves. We can be there for our work and doing the best that we can. And once again, when we have more energy, more sleep, we're gonna have more energy. Who doesn't want more energy? Who doesn't want to wake up feeling refreshed, feeling good each day? Because there's some people that even say that they felt like they slept good through the night, but then the next thing they know is they're back in that stress mode and here they go again. So I'm here to just kind of like get us going on that, educate us on a few things of like what we can do. But here we go, talking about things. We're gonna get back to like a little gas pedal, brake pedal thing. Don't let me forget, as you can talk back to me here. So some of the things that we can do to help increase the amount of sleep that we can get. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is just getting more, I guess, increasing bright light, bright natural light. Now granted, we live in Nebraska, so during the winter months that might be kind of hard and kind of difficult, but we want to get more of that good natural light, even if it's cloudy, just allowing the light from the sky, from everywhere, just to kind of penetrate us. That helps increase our melatonin levels. So that's just going to help us and helps with that cycle, that circadian, I think it is, circadian cycle of nighttime versus daytime, and allowing the body to know like, hey, we should be winding down and getting ready for some sleep. Number 2 is decreasing the amount of blue light. So this is probably everybody's favorite. That's gonna be the light that's coming from our cell phones, tablets, computers, TVs, all of that stuff. Try to decrease that. I know it's hard. Put that phone away an hour before bed. Don't pick it up a half hour after waking. It's just our body, and that's just how our brain works. It doesn't like that kind of stuff. So just doing some of that. I know it can be hard, but man, once you do it, it's shocking what it does for us. Another one is going to be, and I know this one might not be everybody's favorite, is decreasing caffeine. But if we're dumping caffeine into our body and like the coffee and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, I love coffee. But if we're putting that into our body takes that almost as a chemical stress, and then therefore we have more caffeine, which increases our adrenaline, which increases our cortisol levels. And we've all heard of cortisol being, you know, it's not a good friend. It's important, it's an important hormone, but with that cortisol just going through our body, it's gonna cause all sorts of other hormones to get released. And that's when we actually face like some weight gain issues. We face a lot of things going on poorly with like digestion. And that was one thing I didn't quite talk about because I'm going out without any script today, so I apologize. But whenever we add more of that, like our digestion's gonna get off, it's gonna send more surge of stress hormones, which is what we're trying to avoid. Better routine. So getting into a better nighttime routine, you know, like you're going to be going to bed within the next hour or going to bed every night at the same time. I know that can be hard if you have a bunch of kids involved in different activities and you might be eating dinner at 9 o'clock and you want to be in bed at 9:30. I get it. It happens. Like if you can find a little bit more of a routine, because that sets the body, and that's, like I say, rewiring that brain. Our brain starts to go, oh, hey, we're starting to wind down now. This is my click in. This is where I click in and tune into. I need to start shutting this body down, shutting this mind down. Another one then is going to be a supplement. I do encourage some supplements. I don't do a lot with that, but magnesium glycate is a friend of yours. I'll post some ones that I use. It is known to just kind of help with muscle relaxation and just decreasing the amount like of how much our brain is going. It's like with decreased muscle, with relaxing the muscles, that causes our brain to let us know like, hey, like we're winding down, we're calming down again. Another one is going to be to meditate and, you know, or go into, you know, some prayer. This just causes us to refocus our mind. I know we might have had a crazy busy day. It was stressful or wasn't stressful. It was mundane or it was great, whatever. We just want to find that commonality each night with bringing our mind back to just like a centering focus within us. And if that's meditating or praying, whatever it is, focus on that and kind of give yourself a little bit, like even 5 minutes before you start, you know, before you lay down for bed. And then the last one that I want to talk about, and the most important, one of the coolest ways that in my chiropractic career, I had no idea how much I'd impact people's sleep and energy. I thought I'd just be taking care of, you know, all sorts of different conditions. But whenever people come to me, and let's say they came in with low back pain, or they came in with headaches, or they came in with, you know, indigestion or something like that, they're like, oh my God, I am sleeping so much better and I have so much more energy. And I got to thinking, well, that makes sense. Because if our body, even if it's low back pain, think about this for a second. Low back pain, if neck pain, whatever kind of pain you might have, think about it. How much, whenever it was bad, how much did it exhaust you? How much more did you notice that you were so much more tired with that pain going on or with that other condition going on? It's because your body's having to put so much time and energy and focus into keeping that at bay, keeping it under wraps, keeping it, you know, it just takes so much energy. And so with that pain, you're like, of course you're gonna be zapped, you're gonna be fatigued, you're gonna be tired, because it's a constant stressful irritant to your nervous system, and your nervous system is adapting to it the best way that it knows how. And each day, and we are given like let's say you're like a phone battery. You're given 100% each day. And so if your body's in that kind of that constant stress, fight or flight mode, and let's say, you know, most of that energy is going to maintaining that stress, fight or flight mode, or going towards, like, you know, putting energy towards that back pain, that neck pain, it's going to be zapping that energy down. So like whenever it takes so much more energy to put up with a pain or an issue or condition, the leftover reserve energy that you have to go towards your family, go towards working out, go towards your own work, you're not going to have that much. And so then it just starts and it just keeps depleting. And then like the next day you go to sleep and you wake up and you might not even have 100% battery. You might have 75%. And then think about that. You have the same condition, the same problems going on, the same stressors. That's going to zap that energy even faster. So that's where it becomes hugely important, and how chiropractic and like winding in and how chiropractic is intertwined within this is, as chiropractors, we deal with the nervous system. That is all we deal with. Yes, we take care of back pain, neck pain, headaches, but we also take care of a whole host of other conditions, because our nervous system controls everything in our human body. So whenever people come in with poor sleep or low energy, they're also going to have digestion issues. They're going to be constipated or have diarrhea. They're going to have heartburn. They're going to have maybe even like some heart palpitations going on, because there's so much stress hormones released into the body that the heart's having to pick up on that and do things it doesn't want to do, like increasing your heart rate. With an increased heart rate, can you guess what that's going to do to your energy? Tank it. Other things that we see too, and this is going to be like with kiddos and stuff, they get a lot more sickness and illness. Strep throat, let's see here, difficulty sleeping within our kiddos. Let's see, focus and memory is going to be impacted. And then also we see many times issues with women that have gone through a lot of stress is fertility issues. So we're just not focusing here. Yes, we want to focus on sleep and energy, but all of this just has a huge global impact within your body on so many other systems. So it's just vitally important to get like that nervous system in tuned and in checked. And so what we do as chiropractors is we go in there and we find where this stress is kicked on in your body. And it's going to reside in different parts. There's some people that it resides in their upper neck, lower neck, mid back, low back, different parts. But all of those parts go to a different system, a different function within our body other than pain. And so if we can help alleviate that stress, and it's like whenever we talk about like this gas pedal, you'll hear me talk about this multiple times, this gas pedal, brake pedal. Whenever we talk about the gas pedal, what we're talking about there is like we are booming down, we are, you know, we are a Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes. We are constantly go, go, go. We are stressed, stressed, stressed. We are overwhelmed, overwhelmed. We are taxing our body. So then the part of our bodies that's our sympathetic nervous system. We have our parasympathetic nervous system that is our brake pedal that comes in there and goes, hold on, let's slow down. I got to be over here resting, digesting, healing. And we can't do that whenever the gas pedal's on and we are in a stress response. So we need to find that balance. How do we find that balance within our office? Here at SJL, we have amazing scanning technology that allows us to know how your nervous system is functioning. And we are able then to influence that parasympathetic nervous system to help, because with those two, with the sympathetic fight or flight or the parasympathetic rest and digest, you can't have both on at the same time. You can't be pressing on the brake and the gas at the same time in your car. We can only have one going. So we want to decrease that stress response, fight or flight, increase that parasympathetic rest, digest, heal, all of those good things that our body wants to do in order to get good sleep and have good energy. We are able to do that within the chiropractic realm because we are able to influence that nervous system, get it calmed back down. And like I say, I've had so many clients that have come in with a condition, but the number one thing that they always come back to me and say, I slept like a rock. I had so much energy. That is good. So then if you have those things, think of how the body can heal. Think of how the body can relax. Think of how the body can increase its function as it should. And so I am here to help you guys. If you're having any issues with sleep or energy, reach out to me. I would love to help you get onto a better journey with this. Like I say, Dr. Sam here, SJL Wellness. My number is 402-432-7702, or my email is sjlwellness@gmail.com. Love to hear from you guys. Have an awesome day, and we will go from there. Thanks.